Hey, good morning and welcome to Daf Yomi Taanit number 21, Daf Chaf Aleph. I'm very proud of my video that I put out last night, a clip of the beginning of yesterday's year, where I proclaimed that it was paskined by the Dayanim in Bnei Brak. That, like the Gemara has a question, the Gemara in Masechah Shabbos, when it talks about Hanukkah, has a question if you have only money for Kiddush or for Ner Hanukkah or Ner Shabbos and Ner Hanukkah, which comes first? The Gemara says that Ner Shabbos comes first. There's another addendum to that Gemara. This is the Tosfos on the Gemara. It's a Tosfos we just found yesterday. It's a little resource Tosfos. It was found in some small sefer. The Dayanim of Bnei Brak dug it up, and they found that it says that if you do not have access to Ben Sion Lang's YouTube share, and you only have money for one, to get access to his share through purchasing a router and connection to the internet, or money for Neres Hanukkah, it is unanimously paskin by all Dayanim, by Tosfos, based on this Tosfos, all Dayanim of Bnei Brak paskind, that it's much better to hear my share than to have Neres Hanukkah, Yivatel, mitzvahs Ner Hanukkah, Yikayim, mitzvahs, Shmiyas, Shir Shel Ben Sion Lang, Katuv B'Tosfos, Hayachi Shanim. They found it in old sefer buried in the Beis Akvaros in Bnei Brak. It was buried in the cemetery in Bnei Brak. It's an unbelievable discovery, and I heard a lot of archaeologists are asking for permission to see the Sosa Shanim because, how many years does it go back? I mean, Sosa Shanim in Bnei Brak, Tosos was in France. Somehow the Sosa Shanim made it all the way to Bnei Brak. They're talking about maybe it came from the Stone Age, maybe the Iron Age, the Bronze Age, maybe the Iron Age. I would say probably the Bronze Age, but this is just an amazing discovery. Archaeologists are going crazy. There's a big demand. Archaeologists are paying lots of money to be able to access the cemetery and to see what they dug up there. It's really an amazing thing, and I feel so proud of it that Tosas Yishanim, Mechavim Tosas Yishanim, when I said yesterday that it's adif, it's even more. I think even Tosas Yishanim adds in that Ner Shabbos, it's even better, right? The Gemara says the Ner Shabbos is better than Ner Hanukkah. I think it even says that Shmiyas Shirim Shel Ben Sion is adif Ner Shabbos. I think that's what he says also, not just Ner Hanukkah, even Ner Shabbos. Where it says Ner Shabbos is better than Ner Hanukkah, because Shalom Bayis. The Gemara says Shalom Bayis is better. Ner Shabbos is Shalom Bayis, but better than Shalom Bayis is to hear a Shir Ben Sion language. Why is that? I'm going to give you an Ian with Ben Sion Svara over here. It's a pshat in his Tosas Yishanim. The pshat in Tosas Yishanim I'm going to explain, according to me, Lefi Dati. The reason it said that Ben Sion Lang's Shir is more important to hear than even Shalom Bayis is because the Shirim of Ben Sion Lang teach you about Shalom Bayis. They teach you having a Ner Shabbos just, increases your Shalom Bayis, makes you be able to see each other on Shabbos, enjoy each other's countenance. But you don't know where to go. What's the next step? How do you have a relationship with your wife? How do you like each other? How do you have a proper marriage? Those are only found in the Shirim of Ben Sion Lang, and that's basically the Eden of Ben Sion for today, because there's two types of Shalom Bayis. Shnei dinim in Shalom Bayis. And Shalom Bayis, right? The Haskalah of Shalom Bayis and the Gemara of Shalom Bayis is only found in the Shirim of Ben Sion Lang. Keep it in mind. Tosas Yishanim in the cemetery in Bnei Brak. This is an amazing discovery, and hopefully Tosas Yishanim will find its way to the Biblical Museum in Jerusalem. There is one. And it'll all be on display for everyone to see. And then you can go to the museum and click on YouTube and check out my shirim, subscribe, like, comment, and it'll all come full circle. All right, let's get started today on Chaf Aleph, Amud Aleph. The top line. Ilpa Rabbi Yochanan have a garsi baraisa. Ilpa and Rabbi Yochanan were two prominent Amoraim. They're learning Torah together. The Chiglu Milsa, they had financial problems. They were very poor. Tuva Amri Nekum and Ezel V'David Iska. Let's go do a business venture. V'Nekayim V'Nafshin Efes Kilo Yebecha Evyon. Hashem promises, one of the promises is that there won't be, in the time of Tchias HaMeis, in the time of Mashiach, there won't be poor people. Let's be Mekayim that we should be poor. Azu Osvi to the Guda Re'iyah on their way to go discuss or to implement their business venture. They ended up sitting under a weak wall. Havukat Karchi Rifta, they were eating bread. Asu Tre Malach Hasharis. Two malachim came. Shami Rabbi Yochanan the Amar Chalach Avri. Rabbi Yochanan heard one malach saying to the other malach, "Nishte alayu hai guda, let this wall fall on them and Netalim and kill them. Shmanik mechai olam habav oskim mechai shah." They're leaving the pursuits of Torah, which is olam haba, and they're oskim in parnasa chai shah. Amar leidach shavkinu. The other malach said to his friend, "Leave them alone." Ika b'chad ekaima leishaisa. One of these two is going to become big. Rabbi Yochanan Shama Ilpa Lasham. Rabbi Yochanan heard this conversation. The Malachim Ilpa didn't hear it. I'm gonna Rabbi Yochanan to make sure he didn't hear the Ilpa Shama Mar Midi. Did you hear anything? I'm gonna low. He said I didn't hear anything. I'm Shama Anav Ilpa Lashama. The fact that I heard and Ilpa didn't hear. Shama Aladidi Kaimali Shais. I'm the one who's gonna become big after I learn Torah. Amar Le Rabbi Yochanan Hader Oki Benavshai. I'd rather go back to the base medrash and learn. Ki Lo Yachtal Evim Mikarav Aretz. Hashem also promises, even though there will cease to be, at one time there will cease to be poor people, but right now there's always going to be poor people in the land. Better I'll be poor and I'll become a big Torah scholar. Yochanan Hadar Ilpa Lo Hadar. Yochanan went back to learn. Ilpa proceeded further to go in business. Ad Asa Ilpa, when Ilpa made it big in the stock market, he decided to come back to yeshiva. By that time, Malach Rabbi Yochanan already became the Rosh Yeshiva. Amrulei Yasiv Mar Vigarish Lahava Malach Mar. They told him that if you Ilpa would have returned, Rabbi Yochanan returned, you would have been the Rosh Yeshiva, not Rabbi Yochanan. This upset him a little bit. If you want to be Rosh Yeshiva, Azal Talanavshe Ba'askaria the Sfinza, to show everybody how learned he was, despite the fact that he engaged in business pursuits. He tied himself to the mast of a ship. Amar, Ikad Shal Blimasnisa, the Terebechir Boshai. Anyone asked me from a brisa of Rechir Boshaya, Velopashile Masisa, I don't bring the source of that brisa from a current Mishnah. Now, feeling the Maskari, the Sfinsa of Tavana, I'll throw myself off, I'll untie myself from the mast, fall into the sea, and drown. He's willing to risk his life to prove that he's greater in Torah than somebody else. Torah is a competition. I didn't know that. Is Torah a competition or not? If they had a contestant, they have these shows. I watched this show called Abba. Talks about, it's a show finding a new voice, the best singer in Eretz Yisrael. They should have a new show called Talmid Chacham Haba, Rosh Yeshiva Haba. They have contestants and they ask them questions from all of Shas, and they determine who's the Rosh Yeshiva Abba. What's the grand prize? The grand prize is that you get to sit in with the Rav while people are asking him shilos. You get shimush by him. You get a free shas. Oz Vahadar, the big one. That should be the grand prize. It's a new show. Rosh Yeshiva Haba. Anyway, he wanted to get in competition. He wasn't happy about this. Anyway, they asked him, Asu Osaba, a certain elder, they say it was Eliyahu, Tanalai, asked him, from Brisa, Omer Tnu Shekel B'nai B'Shabbos. This is a person who's about to die. He says about his estate, his children, his sons inherited his estate. He says, give them a shekel. I don't want you to give all the money right away. Give them a shekel for their needs for a week. But really, based on the current economy, they needed more. They needed a selah, which is 2 shkalim, to live on. No selah. So they give him a selah. That's the way it works. But if he says it in a way, make sure only to give. Don't give him anything but a shekel. We have to listen to father, and you don't give him only a shekel. If additionally he says, if my sons die, so then other people should get the Yerusha who are not related to them. Bein sha'amar tznu, bein sha'amar al titnu, whether he says give or whether he says only give, a shekel, then for sure we see he's very miserly with his estate and he only wants him to have a shekel. Amar lei hamani, he said to them, Ilpa said to them, Rav Meir, it's Rav Meir, the Amar mitzvah l'kayim divrei hameis. Rav Meir holds that there's a mitzvah above the regular laws of Yerusha. We have to listen to the dead person or the person who's going to be dead. Amar love. So apparently Ilpa lived. He didn't throw himself into the river. Apparently got it right. Amar love nachum ish gamzu sheyasuma mishtei einav. Nachum ish gamzu was blind in two eyes. Gide mishtei adav. He was missing both of his arms. Kita mishtei raglav. Both of his legs were amputated. Chalgufo mali shchin. His whole body was filled with boils. Vayamutal beis ruah. He was lying in a dilapidated house about to fall. Ragle mitaso munachim b'sfalin shalmayim. The feet of his bed were in pails of water. Kadesh lo yalu alav namalim, so that ants shouldn't crawl up the legs of the bed onto him. There was one time when he was in this dilapidated house. Picture Talmidav lefanos mitaso. They wanted to take him out. Then take the furniture out. Amar lahem b'nai panuas akelim. First take out the furniture. Panuas mitasi, and then take me out. Shamuftach lachem shekol zman shani b'bayis ena bayis nofel. I know I'm a big tzad, and as long as I'm in the house, it's not going to fall down. So this way we could save the furniture also. Pinuas akelim, the achkach pinuas mitasi. So they took out the kelim, and then they took out his bed. V'nafal abayis, and the house fell down. Amrlo Talmida Rebbe v'chmachar shesadik gomerata. You're a big tzaddik that you see the house didn't fall until you left. Lama also l'chakach. Why do you look like this? Why are your legs and your arms amputated? And Amar lahem b'nayim garam ani garamti la'atzmi. I caused to myself. Shepamachas hayisim al v'dera. One time I was going on the road lebeis chami to visit my father-in-law. V'haya imi mosa gimel chamorim. I traveled with 3 food-laden donkeys. Echad shal maicha, one had on it food. Echad shal mishta, one had drink. Echad shal mini megadim, one had delicacies, treats, snacks. Ba'ani echad, ba'amadi b'derech. On my way, I met a poor person, and he encountered me. Amar li Rebbe Parnaseni. He said, "Give me some food to eat. I'm starving." He said, "Don't take it right away. Wait till I come down, and I'll take it off myself." By the time he got down from the chamor and started to take the food down, the ani died. Halachti and afalti alpanov. Nachum Mishgamzu says, I fell on his face. Amarti einai shalachasu al yanecha yasumu. My eyes that didn't have rachmanas, pity on your eyes, should go blind. Yadai shalachasu al yadecha. My hands which didn't have pity on your hands, iskadmu, should be amputated. Raglai shalachasu al yadecha. Iskatu, my legs who didn't have pity on you should be cut off. Falonis kara daiti. I still wasn't appeased. I still felt I owed more to this person. My entire body should be filled with boils. Amrulo, oy lanu sharaynucha bakach. Talmud said, it's terrible we see you like this. You're a big rabbi. You're supposed to be our example, our a role model, or someone we look up to. We see you like this, in bed like this. It's hard to look up to you like this. I'm gonna have oily lower. It would be worse if you didn't see me like this. I might, because then he wouldn't have had. Apparently, he felt that if he had all these punishments happen to him, it would be a kapara for his avonos. Amai Karle Nachum Gamzu. Why did they call him Nachum Gamzu? It's a well interesting name, Gamzu. Where does it come from? The Chol Milsa Dabu Salkala. Anything that happened to Amar Gamzu Tova, famous Gemara, he would say this too is for the good. There's a famous story with the Rosh Yeshiva. I think it's Ateretz Yisrael. It's an Yeshiva in Bayis Vegan. The Rosh Yeshiva of Mizrahi, big gadol. He wears a very big yarmulke. During the COVID, when the intense periods of the COVID, he was giving shiurim via video. He did it in his house, and the video was broadcast to his talmidim. And they told him that there's another thing called Zoom. Zoom, that became very popular during COVID, that you could actually interact with Talmidim during the shir. It's even better than just a video, making a video. It's actually a live interaction. You give the shir like that. He heard about that and he said, Gam Zoom Latova. I made a joke that from this Gemara, Gam Zoom Latova, Gam Zoom Latova. So I don't know if you know what Zoom is. Zoom requires the connection to the internet, which falls back to what I was saying before. That you hear, I claimed it was a Dayanim and Bnei Brak, but here you have exactly. This is a true story. I mean, I was saying before, you can decide whether it's true or not, but this really did happen. He said Gam Zoom Latova, and Zoom obviously requires connection to the internet. So you see, the connection to the internet is valued by leading Rosh Yeshiva out there to disseminate Torah and Kol Sheken, my Torah, which is the real Torah. All right. So the Gemara said anything that happened to him was Tova Zim Nechada Bolish Dur. What's an example of this? One time, Bolish Dur Yisrael Dor on the base Caesar. The Jews wanted to send a president to the Caesar. Amrullah Man Yezel, who's going to go? They said Yezel Nachum Mishgamzu. Nachum Mishgamzu go. Demalamu Benisim, who a lot of miracles happened for him. Shadru Biyade Mali Sifta Davanam Tovus and Margilios. They sent him with a chest full of precious stones and pearls. Azal Basba Hudira. He, on his way there, he slept overnight in a lodging. And they knew what was in his chest. They took out all the precious stones and the pearls and they filled it with dirt. Kimata Hasan, when he got there, when he got to the Caesar's palace, his attendants opened up, the Caesar's attendants opened up, and they saw it was full of dirt. The Caesar wanted to kill all the Jews. They're making fun of me. Amar Gamdel Tov. Said it was all for the best. What happened? A miracle happened. Eliyahu came. He dressed up like one of the Romans. Maybe this is not regular dirt. This is special dirt from Avram Avinu's dirt. When he was fighting against the four kings, right, in Parashas Lech Lecha, he would throw dirt, it would turn into swords. Gili havu giri. When he would throw straw, it would turn into arrows. Gemara compares dirt to swords and straw to a bow. There was one country they couldn't conquer. They tried to conquer using this dirt, and they conquered it. They were very happy. They went to the treasury of the king of Malul, the Sifte, Avanim, Tovis, and Margalios. They filled it with precious stones and pearls. They sent them away with great honor. Besu Bahu Diura. On his way back, he slept in the exact same lodging. Amrulay, my Isis Bahadach. What did you bring with you what happened that they're giving you so much honor? Amrulay, my the Shakli Mahacha Amti Lahasam. When I took from here, which they filled with dirt, I brought to there. They obviously felt their dirt was also very special. They demolished their whole house. And they brought all the dirt and the rubble to the king. That which Nachum Gamzu brought to you was also from this dirt. This is all the same dirt. They tried using it in a war. It didn't work. They ended up killing the people who own this lodging as a punishment. So we said if the city has 500 able-bodied men to fight a war, if 3 people die in 3 consecutive days, one person each day, it's considered a dever, it's considered pestilence, a plague that you cry over. If you have 1,500, Yom Kfar like Akko, Akri in the north, Biatsu Imana Tisha Mason B'Shel 3 times the amount, so 9 people will die in 3 days. Zechar Zeh Dever. That's considered pestilence, considered a plague, it's considered coronavirus. Yom Echad Abdalad Yomim, type of coronavirus, not just the coronavirus. Something similar. Coronavirus is a plague, I guess. A pandemic. If 9 people died in 1 day, or technically 4 days, that's not considered pestilence. But a city that only has 500 able-bodied men to fight a working for Amiko. For Amiko was an example of that. We also managed Shlosha made them a Gimel Yomim. 3 people die in 3 consecutive Zachars, like I said before in the Mishnah, that's the exact case. That would be considered to be a plague. Biyom Echad, Chaf Aleph from Beis, Biyom Echad, Obarba Yomim. If 3 people died in one day, or it took them 4 days to die, Ein Dever, it's not considered Dever. Drokres, Ir Motziach Hamesh Ragli Haba. Drokres, an example of a city that had 500 able-bodied men. V'yasim and Shlosha Mesim Yom Echad. It happened that 3 people died on one day. Gozer of Nachman bar Rav Chisda Tanesa. He, not like we taught before, he actually was Gozer of Taanit. I'm Rav Nachman bar Yitzchak. Kiman, who do you hold? Like, where are you getting this from? You must hold the Kurei Meir. Damar and Richek Negi Chosav Chayav Kirev Negi Chosav Lo Kol Shekeh. By Shara Muad, we say that it has to kill 3 people in 3 days. So what about if it kills 3 people in 1 day? So Rav Meir holds it's a Kol Shekeh. If it killed 3 people in 3 days, we kill it. Certainly, if it does it quicker in 1 day, you should kill it. Lo kol sheken. I'm like Rav Nachman bar Rav Chisda, Rav Nachman bar Yitzchak. Leikum Mar. You saw he was a big Talmud Chacham that he was able to find the Taanit to support him. Leikum Mar leisi legaban. Come live by us. I'm going to give you a lot of honor. I'm going to Tanina Rabbi Yossi. Omer Rabbi Yossi says, Lo makomo shel adam mechabdu al adam mechabes makomo. It's not the place where a person resides. He doesn't go to Lakewood. It's not going to honor him by going to Lakewood. You live in your place, and living in your place will draw honor to you. She came at Har Sinai. Har Sinai. She calls Masha Shechina Shruya Allah. Whenever it was its time, the Shechina was with Har Sinai. Amra Torah Gamasam Bakar Yiru Al Mul Arhu. It was so holy that even cattle couldn't go up on the mountain. This Taka Shechina, once Maimon Har Sinai is over, Amra Torah Mshoch Hayoval Hema Yal Bahar. Once you sound the shofar, anyone, even people, can go on the mountain. Similarly, find by Al Moed Shav Midbar Shekol Man Shav Yinatoi. When it was erect, Amra Torah, Vishachim and Amachnas, Kol Sarua, any person with Saras or Zav, Tam the Mace, they couldn't enter. Huglu Parokas, once they wrapped up the Parokas, the walls, the curtains, and they started to travel. Hutru, Zavin, Mtaran, Likanis then the Shekhinah was no longer there. Even tummy people could go there. Amalei Yahachi, so he said, I'm a person, I have Shekhinah with me, so I'm going to stay here. Amalei Yahachi, Nekamana, like Abe Mart. If you're so holy that you married the Shekhinah, let me go live by you. Amar le mutav yavel mana ben pras. It's a mana ben mana. Val yavel mana ben mana. It's a mana ben pras. He says, you're on a higher madrega than me because your father. This is Rav Nachman bar Rav Chisda. Rav Chisda, his father was Rav Chisda, was a holy Amora. Rav Nachman bar Yitzchak was just the son of Yitzchak, who was not a Rav. It's just as Yitzchak. So he's a mana ben pras. Pras is half of a mana. So you're on a higher level than me because you're Rav. Your father was a Rav. So it doesn't make sense. It's not fitting that you should come to me. I should go to you, but I'm not going to come to you anyway. Besura havas devarta b'shivuse de Rav. In Surah there was a plague. B'shivuse de Rav lo hava devarta. In the neighborhood where Rav lived, which is part of Surah, but in his neighborhood, and that's the specific neighborhood, there was no plague. Savru minei mishum skuse de Rav. The Nafish. They thought it was because Rav had a lot of sklusim. He was a very holy person. Eskadu b'chama Rav Nafish skuta tuva hamil zutra le. It's not because of Rav. Rav has more zechuyos than that. You don't have to attribute it to Rav zechuyos. Rav had many more zechuyos. It's for a smaller person. Elam Mishum Gaver the Shayal Marav Zvila Lakvura. There's a certain person in that town of Rav that he would lend out without asking money in return, a hoe and a shovel to bury people. But Jerokres, a city you mentioned before, Hava Delekta, there was a fire. Shu said the Rav Huna Lava Delekta, there wasn't a fire there. Some mean exclusive the Rav Huna, then they thought it was because Rav Huna's merits that this happened. Rav Huna. Rav Huna has more zechuyos in it. As for someone else, on the Shema, he is said the mechamis tanura mishayla the shivuse. A certain woman heats up her oven every Friday and lets people for free use her oven to bake their challahs. Amrulei Rav Yehuda Asu Kimsi. A certain sect of locusts came to the city. Gazar Tanesa. He made a tayas. Amrulei Lokam Mifsadan. He said they're not destroying anything at this point. Amrulu Zav the Aisu Badai. Do they have other provisions with them? Eventually, they're going to start destroying the crops. Amrulei Rav Yehuda Ika Musna B'Chaziri. He says there's a plague in the pigs. Gazar Tanesa. It was Gazar Tanis. Name of Rav Yehuda Makom Mishalachas. If a plagues one species is going to affect other species also, and even the kosher animals are going to die, and that's worth a lot of money. Lo shiny chazir and the damian me'ayel b'nei inshin. That's because the intestines of pigs are similar to the intestines of people. Did you know that? And therefore, we're concerned that the sickness will spread to human beings, which is more severe. Amalei Shmuel, Ika Mosta Bechozai. There's a certain plague in Bechozai. Gazer Tanisa. It was Gazer Tanisa. Amalei Hamirkach is far away. Amalei Ma'abra. Hacha the Pasuk lay. There's no river crossing that is going to stop the plague from coming here. People are going to come. There's no river crossing. It's going to spread. Amalei Rav Nachman. Yisrael. They were living in Bavel. In Eretz Yisrael, there's a plague. Gazer Tanis. He was Gazer Tanis. I'm like in Gvira Loka, Shivcha Lokol Shekain. He says that his reasoning being of the Gvira. Article is the mistress. The mistress is not. Gvira is the main wife, not the mistress. And Gvira Loka is comparing Eretz Yisrael to a mistress. Well, it's the article says that. The mistress is not the main wife. And Gvira Loka Shivcha Lokol Shekain. If the main wife gets Malka, she's Lokesh, she's stricken by the plague. So too the Shivcha, Bavel, which is like the maidservant, Eretz Yisrael, Lokesh, and Taima, the Gvira Shivcha. The reason is because Eretz Yisrael is compared to the main wife. HaShivcha v'Shivcha lo. If it's two places in Bavel, it wouldn't be Gozer. Amalei Shmuel, Ikam Musa Bechozai Gazer Tanesa. There was a case where Shmuel was Gozer Tanis on Bechozai. Shiny Hassam, even though it was on a different place in Bavel. Shiny Hassam came the Ika Sharsa the Lavi V'asi B'Hadei. There it's different because there was caravans, there was trains that went directly from one city to the next. So therefore, a lot of people, as we know, with the coronavirus, it spreads very easily. People come from on a plane from one country to another. They come from a railroad from one place to another. Abba Umna Hava Asile Shalma Mexis the Rakia Kol Yom. Abba Umna, he was a famous doctor, surgeon maybe. He got Baskal came to him every day and said, "How are you doing, Shalom Alecha, Shalom Aleichem." Abayi Kol Mal Yom the Shabsa. Abayi only came with the Baskal every Erev Shabbos. The Rav Kol Mal Yom the Puri. The Rav only came once a year on every Yom Kippur. Abayi was very sad that Abba Umna got more respect from heaven than he did. Mishum da Abba Umna. Because of what Amnu had, Abu Umna had. Amrulay, Lomatz the Mevid Kuvde. They said to him in a Shemayim, I guess in a dream, they said, you can't do what he does. So my Uvde. What did he do? Abu Umna. The Abu Umna, Ki Avid Milsa, Machas Gavri L'chubenashi L'chud. When he would set up his office, his doctor's office, he would have one place, one room for the men, one room for the women to wait. Islay Lavusha. He also had a cloth. The Islay Bekarna. The Havas Bzia Ki Kuslisa. He had a cloth, and he also had a suction cup. So, and he had a slit in the cloth. He would put the cloth. We'll see. He would put this cloth over the woman and had a slit in it, and he was able to stick in, I guess, this needle and the suction cup. He did bloodletting. That was a common practice back then. Take out some of the blood, maybe a blood transfer. I don't know if it's transferred blood from one person to another. I don't know exactly what they did, but he was able to cover the woman so he shouldn't see her body naked. Islay Dukta, he had another thing. He had a place, the Snia, a private place, Shadibe Pshiti, the Shakyo, a place to put in your money to pay. The Islay Shadi, whoever had money to pay for it, they would throw money. The Islay Lo Mirsif. Didn't have money, no one would realize you're not putting money there. Another thing was when a rabbinical student came, Agraminelo Shakal, he wouldn't take money from him even if they had money. Buster the Kai, Yahiv Le Pshita, when he got up, he would give them money. Va'amar Le Azil Barin Hafshach. He said, go eat some food, make yourself healthy again. He would give them money for that. That's sort of Abba Umna. So if you decide to be a doctor or a rabbi, the Gemara makes it clear. It's better to be a doctor or a surgeon than to be a rabbi, because if you're a doctor and you're a good doctor, you get Shalom Aleichem and Shemayim every day. If you're a rabbi, only once a week or once a year. So if you're and my aunt always came to me and said, "Hey, you could have been such a good doctor. You could have been such a good lawyer. Why are you learning all the time?" She's right in a sense in this Gemara. It's better to be a doctor than to be a rabbi. Have a good day. Good Shabbos. Bye.